Hi everyone, welcome back to the EV puzzle. Yeah, I don't seem to do as many Kona videos these days, do I? I guess I'm just enjoying driving the car and not doing videos about it. My mind is more around solar panels these days. I've just got used to the car now. I've just got used to being an EV driver and just getting on with it. But solar panels, as you know, if you've seen my other videos, I installed my solar panels on the roof back in January, so it's 6 months later now. It's July 2019. And 6 months, I'm already looking at a battery and more panels. I wouldn't say I'm addicted to it, but I really, really enjoy having solar panels. It's the combination of the electric car, the solar panels, not paying for my electricity, but having it for free, but driving for free, driving with energy from the sun, not from power stations, not from the grid, and not having to charge out as much as well. It's everything, boiling the kettle and knowing it's coming from the sun too. It is a fantastic feeling knowing that the energy is yours. You created it. Yes, you've paid for it. You've paid for the solar panels, but for the amount of money, I paid under £5,000 for a 3.9 kilowatt P system to go on the roof, and that I still think was the right price point for me. £5,000 or under for 3.9 kilowatt P. It's generating. Well, they said 3,000. I can't remember now. 3,300, 3,600 kilowatt hours a year. I reckon I might be getting 4,000 this year. So I think I'm going to be doing quite well. So I still think value for money and the payback period, I did really well. But I want more. I should have put more on in the first place. I allowed them to put the panels right in the middle of the roof, which now makes it difficult to put more panels in that perfect position. I could get another 4 panels up there if they'd have put them into a better position. So my bad for allowing that to happen. I really didn't think I'd want any more, especially so soon. But I've got this roof at the side. It's the garage roof. Yes, it's partly shaded by the house in the morning, and yes, it's partly shaded by the neighbour's house late in the afternoon. But during the main part of the day, when we're generating the most electricity, it's clear uninterrupted. So putting 4 panels up there, 4 300 watt JA solar panels, I've been quoted, including a solar edge diverter, a solar edge diverter, was £1,600. Interestingly, that quote was from a company called Power Different. Christian Danes, the director, is the guy that came round and had a good chat. He's one of those people that, he's a professional, but it's his business. He loves the stuff. He knows the stuff. So, if he's not going to get it right for you, then nobody is. I notice a big difference between the major companies. I've been getting some quotes for battery solutions and solar panels. And when you talk to the big guys, the ones that are putting out big commercial systems and loads of power walls, they come across very, very differently to the people that work on a more personal level with more individuals. And I prefer that personal touch. I prefer working with a smaller company. So although I've had quotes for power walls from the larger companies, which I'll go through in a moment, I'd actually prefer to work with Christian. So yeah, I haven't used them yet. I don't know what it's like, but I'd definitely recommend them for a quote. I did ask E.ON for a quote, and they're the people that put the solar panels up in the first place. Now, by comparison, I think the salesperson for E.ON probably doesn't even own solar panels themselves. It's just a sales job. So what's he going to sell you, and does he know the configuration, and does he know the benefits of all the different options that you can have? And I don't think so. Their quote came in at twice the money, almost 2/3 of what the full configuration would have been just for 4 extra panels. So I really can't understand that. It's either priced so that they don't want the business because it's so small, or it's just priced incorrectly. I haven't gone back to them. I haven't tried to find out. It's their loss. They were great when they put my panels up in the first place. It was a good price. I didn't know about Power Different. I didn't know about Christian before. If I had, I'd have got him to put the panels up without a hesitation. Anyway, so the price differences. Well, E.ON quoted 3,500 to put the 4 panels up, a 1.2 kilowatt system. And they quoted just under £4,000 for a Solax battery. And Christian has been able to get slightly under that price for a Solax battery as well. I think I'm going to go ahead with the panels regardless, but should I go ahead with the battery storage as well? That's what's been It's been nagging me and driving me crazy for weeks now because of the VAT change that's coming. So, if I go with solar panels now and the battery, I'll definitely make the saving on the battery. I won't be paying 20% VAT, I'll be paying 5% VAT. So it's well worth it. So I've been doing my research, I've been getting several quotes for Powerwalls. I'm not going to name the companies because, there's nothing wrong with them, they're really, really good, but I just didn't get the right vibe from the two larger companies that I contacted about Powerwalls. Both came in circa £9,000 for a 13.5 kilowatt hour Powerwall. Now, that's not bad price actually for the amount of kilowatt hours you're actually getting, but the question is, do you need all of those 13.5 kilowatt hours? And there's definitely an attraction to going for a smaller battery size, say a 4 or a 6 or a 9, and then being able to upgrade it afterwards if you want more. That sort of does appeal to me, especially when I'm not a high energy user. So battery storage solutions, I'm of absolutely no doubt they're well worth the money for people that are high energy consumers, especially if you're not consuming the energy during the day when the sun's actually out. So if you're at work all day and then most of your washing and cooking and charging your car and all those sort of things is all in the evening, then it makes sense to have a battery solution because you're not paying for energy from the grid. Obviously, you could go for an economy 7 type tariff or an agile tariff from someone like Octopus, and then you're not paying a lot anyway. Adding a battery solution to someone like myself that is actually retired and I'm using most of the energy, and you can see here from this graph that I've got from the My Energy app on my Zappy, you can see that I am consuming a large proportion of the energy I'm generating. But I can also see that I've got these 111 kilowatt hours, and this is 3 weeks in July, where that energy has been exported to the grid. And you can see in the graph here that the yellow is what I'm exporting. So on some days, like this one, I'm charging the car and I'm exporting hardly any at all, so I don't really need a battery. But on other days, when I've gone out and I've taken the car out for a drive, then obviously that energy is just going out to the grid. It's not like it's going down the drain or anything. It is getting used. It's not being wasted. But the grid is getting the benefit from it. It could go to a battery. I see in the summer months, I'm using between 60 and 70 units of electricity every month. So that's 2.5 kilowatt hours of grid energy per day. So I don't really need a huge battery. But it's not just about energy from the grid, is it? Because the battery isn't just delivering that saving of the kilowatt hours that the grid is being used for. It's also enabling me to use those 111 kilowatt hours that I've exported. So the battery is going to be used, hopefully, multiple times during the day. So not only am I going to have a couple of kilowatt hours in the battery that I'm going to be able to use for my grid consumption, I'm also going to be able to recharge that back from the solar during the day again and reuse it again later in the evening. So just because it's a 2 kilowatt hour battery, I might be getting 3 or 4 kilowatt hours of use from it some days. Anyway, my thought is that what I actually want is not a 2 kilowatt hour battery. I think I need a 4 kilowatt hour battery. But because of the discharge level of the batteries, going down to probably only 90%, I'm going to lose 10% off it. So if I went for a 6 kilowatt hour battery, knock 10% off, that's 5.4. After 10 years, I'm going to be down to 70 or 80% of that capacity. So to be honest, if I went for a 6 kilowatt hour battery, it would probably provide me with an absolutely lifelong solution for looking after my electricity. 6 kilowatt hours is, so if I'm getting 5.5, that's probably enough to heat my hot water. I reckon I'm using between 4.5 and 6 kilowatt hours of energy to heat my hot water. Not every single day, because to be honest, sometimes I go a whole day and I haven't heated the hot water. But on average over the time, I reckon it's 4.5 to 6 kilowatt hours of energy I'm using to heat my hot water. So if I had a battery and if it was sized right and I filled it the night before, then I could discharge it completely at 5 or 6 in the morning around that time, heat my hot water, so that's job done. Then I can recharge the battery during the day with any surplus energy. Obviously, if I'm charging my car on a day like this, as I described before, then I'm not going to be able to recharge the battery, which means I won't then be able to heat my hot water first thing in the morning. So I'm starting to work into Not just how it would work saving me money, but logically and practically, how would it work? And the savings aren't really there in a battery for me. If I went for a battery because I'm a low energy user, I'm not going to be saving a lot of money. There's not a lot of units of electricity for me to save. I am going to be able to utilise more of the energy I would have exported. So yes, I'm going to gain, as in gain even more hot water and even more car charging. But what I've got almost works. It feels like it's right on the edge of being perfect during the summer. In the winter, it won't quite be right. So having a battery will not only give me more flexibility and more practicality of using more solar energy into both hot water and the car, but it will actually enable me to use more of that energy that otherwise would have been exported. So yeah, even though it doesn't cost justify, it might even be a 15 to 20 year payback on having a battery, a small one at £4,000. So that's not good. One calculation I worked out, I'm not going to give you the numbers this time, but I worked out it was about £140 a year were what my tangible savings were going to be for having a battery. Well, that's just ridiculous, isn't it? My common sense should tell me there's no way I'm going to buy a home storage battery if all it saves is £140 a year. The payback on that is just stupid. But it is more than that. It is about having a complete solution, one that really works. Why have a non-perfect solution? Why have something that's not quite as efficient as it could be? If money's no object, would you have one? Well, yeah, absolutely, because it's better to have one. There's no doubt about that. Having an EV, it's definitely better to have solar, and having solar, it's definitely better if you've got a battery. So it is just about, not just can you afford it, but do you want it, and how much do you want it? How much do you want that extra data in your life? Yeah, it's a bit sad, isn't it? But partly going battery is satisfying my need for a little bit more data in my life. Anyway, what have I looked at? So I've told you I've looked at a couple of Powerwall quotes. They were 9,000 a piece, roughly. That included installation. Also, I looked from Christian, Power Different. He quoted me for a Sonnen battery. Now, that did look nice. I like the specification of that. The price per module of battery that you could add, because it was a nice modular system, so better than the Tesla system. But the initial price for the initial configuration of the cabinetry and the battery management system and the gubbins that goes with it to make a working system, it was too expensive. The comparable level of something like 12.5 kilowatt hours to the Powerwall came in at £11,000. So it's definitely a premium product, but it's one that's so good, I'd probably put it indoors. I'd probably put it in my spare room. What should be the dining room in this house that we don't actually use. I would put it in there. That room borders onto my garage, so the installation for my electrics is in there. It'd be straight through the wall, nice easy installation, and it's got a nice Knight Rider kit flashing strobing light on it as well. Very nice. But yeah, £11,000, it's too much. £4,000 is hard to justify as a battery solution for a 6.3 kilowatt Solax system. And as I said, I had two quotations for that, one from Eon and also one from Christian from Power Different. What else have I looked at? I then started looking into things on eBay, can you believe? And I looked at a Pylon battery system. It seems so cheap, about £1,000 for 2.4 kilowatts, which, it's not far from the mark from a Solax level of cost. I think their 4.5s are listing at about £2,000 in that mark. So these Pylon ones, they seem all right. But then I talked to the guy at Eon, and he told me that they used to supply these Pylon, however you pronounce it. And I thought, well, why don't you now? And he said it's because they had some upgrade issues. So they moved from Pylon across to Solax, which makes me think, okay, it is cheap and cheerful. I looked into it a little bit for the Pylons, and the battery technology in the background actually is quite good, and the fact it's easily upgradable, that's good as well. From what they say, it's easily upgradable, but is it over the life of the system is perhaps the issue. So I've sort of gone off the cheap solution. I've sort of gone off the high-end solution because I really don't need 13.5 kilowatt hours for a Powerwall. Yeah, probably the Tesla one with the over-the-air updates and that size battery. it probably is the best solution, one of the better solutions out there. Sonnen, yeah, do you know, I'd rather have it because it's a different name as well. And I think the battery technology isn't car battery technology, it's specific for the home energy market. So I'd probably prefer Sonnen as a premium product. But the Tesla, I don't know, you probably can't beat that, can you? But I don't need it. So what else can I get around the 4, 6, 8, 9 kilowatt hours? And LG Chem seems like a really good solution. The thing that I like about the LG Chem is it's got a 4 kilowatt output, so I can use 4 kilowatts of energy from the battery in the house. The Solax is only rated at 3 kilowatts, but what I've heard from other people online that have already got these triple power Solax batteries, that they're only getting 2 kilowatts. So I've got some more digging to find out what the truth is. Are they running old batteries, older systems, and the new ones can deliver 3? Or is 3 like a theoretical max, but actually in practice all you're going to get is 2? I don't know yet, so I'm looking into that. The LG Chem gives out 4. My immersion heater is 3 kilowatts, so I need at least 3 to do that job of heating my hot water out of hours when there's no sun. If I've only got a 2 kilowatt battery, then I can't do it because I'm going to switch on my immersion heater, which is 3 kilowatts, and I'm only going to be using 2 from the battery, so I'm going to be pulling from the grid. So that's not going to work for me if it's only 2 kilowatts. So the LG Chem sounds really good, but getting someone to quote for it is the problem. Part of the problem isn't just choosing what you want. Part of the problem is finding someone that's prepared to quote you for that technology and at a sensible price. So that's what I really like about Christian again, that he sells Sonnen batteries, but if he works out that that's not for you and it's not right, he will look at the market and he will look as to what's right for you and work with you. And I really, really like that. So he wants to deliver a solution to you, wants to make it work. Whereas these other companies that I've been looking at, if you don't like what they're offering you, that's it, they walk away. They don't want your business. Here it is, this is the product they sell. And yeah, I suppose it keeps business simple for them, but it's not ideal. It's not what I really want from a company. I want more. I want a tailored solution that's right for me, and I want their professional help in helping me get a solution that's right for me. So at the moment, I'm torn. I really want the battery, but the Solax is the one that I can probably afford and justify. A 6.3 kilowatt hour battery for just under £4,000. But if it really does only give a max output, sustained output of 2 kilowatts, it's not enough. So I've got to do some more research, talk to Christian again about the specifications of that battery and see if it is 3 kilowatt or 2 and get that absolutely nailed down. The LG Chem probably adds another £2,000 onto that price to get a 9 point something kilowatt hour LG Chem battery. I think the list on the battery, instead of being 2.4 for the 6 kilowatt Solax battery, it's about 2.428 list price. The LG Chem is more like 4 and a bit. So yeah, it's definitely adding a couple of thousand onto the bill. So can I justify £6,000? Probably not. And here's where you're starting to see the difference. If you extend up to an LG Chem 9.6 or 9.8 kilowatt hour battery, then you're getting close to the Tesla Powerwall. So how close do you get to the £9,000 before you might as well say, sod it, I have 13.5 kilowatt hours? And this is the problem. I think going for a £4,000 solution is a really good idea because it's half the price of a Tesla Powerwall, delivering the same functionality. And you should only be going for the larger configuration if you really need those kilowatt hours, if you need that energy. But then, last minute, I started to look at Duracell. Duracell have launched a battery solution in the UK. I can't find anyone yet that's selling it, so I've made contact with Duracell to find out more. But that's a 3 kilowatt hour solution that's upgradable to 6 kilowatt hours. And it does have the higher rated output of power, the 4 kilowatt that I would want. So that seems like a really good solution, and it's got a lot of intelligence built in, ready for selling your electricity back to the grid, and all of those smart solutions that will be coming in the future. It's no doubt our grid will be balanced using home energy batteries. So with that in mind, buying a battery now, like a Solax, that's a dumb solution. I'm not so sure that that's a good idea. In fact, I think, oh, I was almost going to say I've decided, but anyway, perhaps not. I'd love to hear your thoughts and comments below in the video to tell me, should I go for a battery now? Should I wait? Is it worth the money? What do you think? Have you got one of these Solax batteries or an LG Chem solution? How does it work for you? And what should I be doing at this point in time? Half of me says because of the VAT, just sod it, just go for it, spend the money and put it in. I will love it and it will really work for me. Part of me actually says, well, I don't really want all that smart technology in the future because I don't want other people controlling what I do with the battery. I want it to be mine and I fully control it. So part of me says, just go and get it. And then the other half says, well, the market seems to be changing right now. And if it is changing, then perhaps I should wait a little bit more. And perhaps with battery prices coming down, which they keep talking about, but I haven't actually seen home storage batteries coming down in price. Hopefully one day they will, and a better solution will be available. So maybe I should just put the panels up and not get the battery right now. What do you think? Let me know. Are there any solutions that I've missed? I think I've looked at the obvious ones. Moexa, I could have looked at that as a solution, I do know, but I read some things online with some negative reviews saying that it didn't work very well and the componentry inside wasn't any good. In which case, I'm not interested in looking at it. Now, doesn't that say a lot for it? If you hear something online, even though it might not be true, it puts you off. And yeah, why go and spend the time looking at things that somebody else says isn't good when there are lots of other things to look at that people are saying are good? So you do tend to only go and look at things that you've seen a good recommendation for. And I really wish I knew more people that had batteries installed because I'd like to know their numbers, see how they use it and know how it's worked for them over the years. But sadly, I don't actually know anyone in my friends and family circles that's got one yet. Which is daft, isn't it? Because it's like electric cars. Just because I've got one and I've got solar panels, you think everyone's got one. But of course, actually no, they're still quite new and not everyone's got them. But everyone should. There's no doubt about it. The world would be a better place and everyone would be happier if they had solar panels, electric car and a battery storage solution at home. It would, one, save a lot of money, but two, yeah, just make life a lot better and a lot easier. Why easier? Well, you wouldn't have to be swapping energy companies so much because who cares the price of the kilowatt hours if you're not using them? What you actually care about is the price for the standing charge for a day. So actually, I don't think I'd be messing around swapping electrical suppliers too often, especially with how good Bulb have been. I'll leave my referral code in the comments below and I'll stick it up on screen any moment now. But yeah, for how good a solution that Bulb have provided me and how hassle-free and how their app just works on the phone and submitting meter readings, etc. It's just a, I won't say novel experience, but it's just such a good experience with an energy provider. And I've never had that before with E.ON, Scottish Power, N-Power, British Gas. I've been through with a lot of the majors and I've been with SSE as well. And they're all the same. They're all hassle to call, hassle to contact. Their solutions don't always work. You log on and it needs a full website. It doesn't work on the mobile phone. There's all sorts of intricacies where it's just a pain in the butt. But with Bulb, it's been hassle-free from start to end so far. So I can't recommend them enough, especially when they give you these referrals. So, for example, if you use my referral code when you create your account with Bulb, they'll give you 50 quid to start with. Well, if you only use £500 of energy a year, that's 10% off. And they give me 50 quid too, which is awesome. And that's why I'm £700 in credit with them because I've had a few referrals. So thank you very much if you're watching this and you have used my referral code. But think about that. You've got family and friends that would want to know about a really good energy company with good prices, no hassle, easy to swap to, and it saves money. And you can recommend it and refer it to friends as well. Just getting a couple of those will save you a lot of your energy bills. So, sorry, I've ruffled too much about Bulb. I'll leave it there. I'll leave it there. So there you go. That's what I'm thinking of doing. I want a battery. I just don't know whether I should get one now. Please help me. I need help, that's for certain. Yeah, I'll leave the details of Christian and Power Different. And so far, thoroughly recommend them. If I go ahead now and get the panels and maybe a battery, I'll give you an update video on that as well and let you know how the experience has gone. Thanks for watching, everyone. I hope you enjoyed that. I hope you can help me move towards whether I get more panels or whether I get a battery as well. Look forward to sharing more information with you soon. Take care. See you again soon. Bye-bye.